Creator Spotlights is a podcast series by Developh telling the stories of student makers, founders, and doers. Developh is a student-run nonprofit accelerating technology and experiences for social good. Since 2016, we've been working to reshape the tech pipeline in the Philippines, investing in students through community, education, and opportunity. We envision a Philippines where creation is universal, intentional, and accessible for all. Join our community at developh.org. In this episode, we're very excited to be speaking to Joan Francisco, a senior high school competitive programmer who enjoys writing in her free time. She used to compete in the National Olympiad in Informatics, and she made a poetry zine together with her friends that has helped the victims of Typhoon Rolly. She strongly advocates for women in technology and hopes to inspire others through her projects. Hi, Joan. Welcome to Creator Spotlight. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Daniella Joan, and I'm a graduating student from Philippine Science High School, SOCCSKSARGEN Region Campus, and I am a competitive programmer and a part-time poet, I guess. I do poetry on my free time.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you mentioned that you were a creative programmer. Yeah, can you tell us why exactly you do this?
So competitive programming is technically, solving problems, solve or trying to think of different solutions and algorithms and data structures. And there's this anxiety with it. Also, there's euphoria, and everything was just a roller coaster ride, and that made me hook into it. And so I definitely enjoyed doing competitive programming problems and problem sets. And also, it was when I noticed that there's so few women who actually try competitive programming. So I was intrigued because why aren't a lot of people joining the IOI? Why aren't a lot of women in the IOI? And so that's when I found out that only so little women join competitive programming. And it's kind of a problematic thing because we only see men being represented, and it kind of amplifies the generalization that computer science is just a field for men to be in, and there's no place for minority like women to be in. And that's like a big no. I mean, I can do programming, so why can't other women do programming? And so this kind of motivated me to be more into the field in order to share my thoughts, my perspective as a woman to my fellow women, in order to encourage them and inspire them to try a different lens of computer science that they may like, which is competitive programming, because it's like a whole different experience when you do comprog than, general computer programming. There's that.
Wow, that's actually really inspiring and deep.
Yeah, I agree as well. Well, Joan, in the course of your competitive programming career, I guess, what experiences have changed you or have been meaningful in your journey as a competitive programmer?
I think it was meeting lots of new people and knowing them from different walks in life, because you get an experience outside the comprog setting. It's not just about crunching numbers and then dishing out codes and forming code snippets. It's not that surface level, because once you interact with the people you're competing with, you would realize that there's more to this competition to people than there actually is. And I guess it's also being connected with different people. Like, I got introduced to different institutions, universities, people that can actually, be a great connection when it comes to the future or something like that. Also, there's this being in an inspiration or a role model to your juniors. Especially, there's this satisfying feeling when you know that a junior that you were just talking about with programming actually starts to do it. Like, I have this one junior last year that asked me about my journey in programming. And then I told her the whole story with no filter at all. And then this year, I just knew that she joined the NOI eliminations this year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her. Like, who would have thought that you would make that kind of impact on specific people just because you love what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. Like, actually, inspiring people to do things is one of the most motivating things that you can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, yeah, besides that, like inspiring people, like what creation throughout your, tech journey, what creation has been made you the most proud?
I have this really one thing that it's really minor, but I was definitely proud of it for some unknown reason because I tried to learn this specific data structure that I really, really, really tried to learn for like months, I guess, because I couldn't understand it. Like I knew it theoretically, but I couldn't put it into code. And I was really, really frustrated. But then after a few months, I finally did a running code of segment trees in which is a data structure that divides arrays and then organizes them and then them out in a specific way. And I made 3 versions of it. One using vectors and one using nodes and some technical stuffs and more. And I tried reading different books. I tried listening to online videos. I even attended a seminar for it. And it pays off that you actually mastered something by heart because you tried to learn it over and over and over again. And also, it's not just that thing, but I also had this experience in my school when I was invited to speak as a resource person when we were having this workshop about teaching people about competitive programming because the eliminations were going near. And my teacher invited me and told me that, hey, maybe you would want to share your experiences with data structures because that's your niche, and maybe you can help your fellow competitors in order to prepare them for the NOI finals or eliminations, I mean. And I said yes. And it was really fun seeing their eyes lighten up, their eyes sparkling, or whatever metaphor there is. And, seeing them being fulfilled with knowledge and being enlightened about what you're actually teaching to. And also, I taught a couple of juniors, like mga grade 7s and 8s. We taught them Python because that was the aim of our club, because I had this club when I was in 10th grade and I was president of the club, and we released this program wherein we taught incoming grade 7 and 8th students Python programming because it's like the easiest programming language that you can teach a kid. And so we taught that as a team, and it was really nice because they could discover the things that they could do with just merely communicating with a computer. And this is a short plug in. It's not really about programming itself, but it's a part of me that I would like to share and I'm really, really proud of. My friends and I, specifically Rihanna Mindo and Gio Sanchez, we released a self-published poetry zine just last month. No. Last 2 months, December 2020. And it was something that we really worked on for like a whole month of designing everything. And for the writers, me and Rihanna, we started making the poems ever since last year. And we were partners with the STEP initiative with the whole thing. And every donator for the STEP initiative received a copy of our book. And it was just really nice sharing what you did, what you like, with people who actually contributed into something meaningful. Like there was this exchange of art, and there was donation drive, and it was just really nice sharing it to people who help other people also. So it's like you're also indirectly helping them, and we ourselves also donated, so kind of got a copy of our own book. But it was really nice because it was something outside of competitive programming. It was like a breath of fresh air, and it was a good break, and we were really happy and satisfied with what our output looked like.
The achievements you mentioned were really, really, they were really amazing. I was amazed myself. Like even
Thank
with
you.
the segment trees, I also do competitive programming on the
Yeah,
side. It was
it's
like,
really hard.
yeah. So like one time when I was like learning how to do the graph theory, it's like when I got
Hmm.
it, like whoa.
Yeah, I
It's just
hate graph theory too. It's like one of my my weaknesses in programming. It's like math and graph theory. Like both of them just, screws me up every time.
yeah. So the poetry design. Can you like tell us more about it? I'm kind of curious as to what's about the themes, I guess. Like
Oh, it's we actually had this plan to release this poetry zine in 11th grade, because in our school we have this scale thing, which is technically like you have to make this personal project that should be sustainable, and it's either should be creative or would be a service of something, or to be something physically that you need to do, or you need to have this leadership position in a certain something. And so we chose creativity, and I collaborated with my classmates. And then Rihanna and I saw that we had both this affinity for writing poems. And so I told her, hey, why maybe we can make a poetry zine out of this. And she was like, oh my gosh, let's go for it. But then it kind of went to a halt because, COVID happened, everything. We weren't able to plan it out. But then we brought it up again last October, I guess. And then we were still very motivated to do it. And you see, I keep this poetry journal in my laptop, and I would just write my drabbles in there. And then I told her, hey, do these poems look good in our theme? And actually we didn't have like a specific theme around it. And then she showed me also some of her poems, and then we saw that our theme goes in line with the very real experiences of people around us, like something that they could resonate with. I know it's very vague in general, but because that's what life is. Life is like it's very scattered, and you can't really define it in a specific perspective. And so our poetry zine just really looked into that. There was no specific point of view that it was bounded to or tunnel vision into, but you see the highs and the lows and the middle grounds of life in there. But it was mostly dark because we were writing it because both of us are like really dark and grotesque writers, I guess. And there were like really macabre topics, but we do have some light-hearted poems there, and there were also about romance. And it's we arranged the poems in such a way that it transitions from like the light-hearted poems, and then as you go down it gets darker and darker, and then you reach at this like climax at the bottom. Actually, it's not really a climax, but it's like a good closure to like everything that you've read. Also, we hid some, what do you call this, Easter eggs. We hid Easter eggs in the poems themselves. So maybe if you got a copy of it, well, you can try to find them. And if you want a copy, I'll provide them in the link. There should be this link attached with the video. And we're planning to it's still an online copy of everything, but then we're planning to materialize it into an actual book. It's just like nearly what, 50-ish pages, so it's not really that thick, but we're planning to release a physical copy of it and have it reviewed, and hopefully maybe the cost that we would get, or the profit that we would get, would go to specific beneficiaries. And I'm thinking of doctors, I no lawyers for doctors. Yeah, that kind of group that's run by someone I know. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so amazing. Like you making a poetry design, then using it to for a cause, and how it's so well thought of, like Easter eggs and all. Like yeah, I'm actually gonna definitely read it. Like after
Thank you
after you give
so
us the
much.
link.
Actually, I fangirled one time because I mentioned earlier that donators of the STEP initiative would get a copy of the book, just like Hiraya Zine. And I saw one of the donators was Reina Reyes, and I'm like, oh my god, Reina Reyes is gonna read our poetry zine. I legit freaked out because I was the one who was emailing them the copies of the poetry zine, and when I saw her email, I was shocked because, like, oh my god, it's Reina Reyes. Oh my god, she's gonna read our poetry zine, and I was anxious and excited at the same time. But oh well, I hope people would, love reading the poetry zine itself. And I also hope you guys would love it. We poured
Right.
our heart on it.
Yeah, I'll definitely go around to read that. So yeah, after listening to all of those, like I'm like genuinely curious, like what inspires you the most, like or like influences you to create while focusing on tech or stuff like that. Like yeah, like books, movies, favorite actors, actresses, stuff like
I
that.
see, I see. Well, I have actually, for me personally, competitive programming and, poetry writing is like an escape to the stresses of real life. I know that all of us has this escape, or not really escape, but coping mechanism, I guess, or like something that we distress ourselves. And I saw that programming and poetry writing is works well on me, and so I continued to pursue that. But then there's this specific artist that really inspired me to do the things that I love, and it was Halsey. I don't know if you guys know Halsey, but I'm crazy over her because I love her music. I love the messages in her music. She could resonate with me. She's an artist. She's a poet, and like she just released this new book, and now she also owns this makeup company, and she's just like really this amazing person. And whenever I read things about her, I could see myself in her. It's like she's a wow. She's like a representation of me, in a sense. Not really a representation, but you get the feeling that you idolize someone and you see yourself in that someone, and that makes you feel, reassured that you're good, you're okay, and it's okay to be the person you are. It's okay to love the things that you do. It's okay to be this, it's okay to be that. And she made me love myself more. And her poetry book actually really pushed me to do our poetry zine also. And also, it's not really connected to being a creator, but it's more of a perspective in life that I had. There's this book that introduced me to the philosophies and principles I have in life now, which is The School for Good and Evil. And it shows the blurred lines between good and evil, and how every good in them has a bad side and every evil in them has a good side. And it just shows how everything in life is mixed up. There's no such thing as pure good. There's no such thing as pure evil. There will always be consequences, whether good or bad, to your actions. And it's a principle that I would apply when I do programming, as crazy and as distant as it might sound, but yes, it makes sense. And also in poetry writing, there's that.
Wow, I didn't really expect Halsey. I know Halsey a bit. I just know that she's a singer, but I never expected that she was this amazing person who owns a makeup company who also writes poetry.
Yeah,
And
she
I
is. She's so amazing.
and I hear that she makes some really good music as well.
Yes, oh my gosh, I'm so crazy over her music.
So aside from poetry and like competitive programming, what else have you been doing like over the quarantine, the past few months? What have you been working on?
Oh no, this is tough. Well, it's technically just, I know you guys can relate because like lots of you guys are also experiencing this, but it's technically college applications. I
Yeah.
swear, oh my god, the stress levels with college applications. Oh my god, guys! I know the both of you are like 12th grade students. Do you feel me? The
Yeah,
stress.
and the accompanied existential dread of like, what
Yes.
course do I choose?
Oh my gosh, yes. And like, what if you don't pass? What if you don't get a scholarship? What if you don't get this? You don't get that? Oh my god, it's been eating me alive ever since Hell Week. Ever since CET season started, it was just like really waiting for emails and addressing guidance counselors and registrars and emailing school admission officers and trying to find suitable schools for your course. Some are even just thinking of their course, and it's just a crazy time. And that's
Yeah.
why emotional support within your school or your community about crazing over college apps really helps. And like I had people asking me which courses should they choose or what school specializes in this, and it's really nice because you guys kind of exchange infos about their thoughts about the college application process, my thoughts about the application college process. And it's a crazy time that we live in, and that's why we it's better that we ask each other about these kinds of things. And also, as we know, if you're ever applying for international, most probably your applications are over. I mean, you submitted your applications already and now you're just waiting for the results, and the wait is so getting crazy. I swear. And like Ivy schools moved their decision dates by April 6th, and it seems like April 6th is so near yet so far away. And like every day approaching to April 6th is, it adds more anxiety. And also, as a person whose dream university just finished their applications, you get more anxious by the day. I mean, Ateneo, please manifest. Please take me. You would just get this mantra over your head for your dream colleges to accept you or something. Yeah, there's that. Been busy with college apps.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when I was filling up the Ateneo application, I was just like sad over like what have I even accomplished over like my whole high school life.
I know, like you would question yourself, oh my god, were these everything that I've done for the 6 years? 6 years I wasted? No, it's crazy.
Yeah. Right now, like all we have to do is like pray. But I believe
Yeah.
in us. Well,
Ooh,
but yeah.
manifest, manifest.
Manifest
Woo!
exactly. Law of attraction.
Yes.
But yeah. So yeah, I know quarantine has been a hard time for all of us. And yeah,
Mhm.
like I understand like if I can't even do anything productive these days. Like I'm just laying down in bed and
That's a hard mood, girl.
I know, right? So yeah, going back to your work of course. I'm curious about like what your advocacies are since like I can tell that you like helping out communities, especially when you mentioned how you wanted to give the profit of your zine to like this
Mhm.
cause. I'm genuinely curious like what your advocacies are and like how do you like relate it with your work if you can add that.
Actually, I have like different advocacies with in programming and also in creative writing. In programming, it's really minority inclusivity of minorities in technology, because you if you ask the majority of people of, people in technology, they would always answer a guy. And it sucks because why are we enclosing a specific gender or a specific group of people into a field that can be accessed by everyone? Supposedly, if poverty didn't exist, but apparently it does. So, it, but then, why are we just limiting ourselves into that kind of thing? So, I've been trying to advocate that, women in technology, minorities in technology, with the work I do and the things I do when I involve myself with competitive programming. Like, representation is really important, reaching out to different people is important, inviting other people and motivating them is like one of the key components or things that I try to combat that kind of mentality that computer science is just for men. And it's nice to see that in different schools that there's this balanced ratio of men and women in their technology or computer science courses, and it's a step forward. But then, they might be curated with, the admission process that they're doing, and hopefully we would it would be apparent that women can code, girls can get involved in technology, girls can be computer scientists. In poetry zines or in poetry in general, it's just really doing your passion and then helping people who are in need. In the STEP initiative, our benefactors were people who were affected by the typhoons Ulysses and Rolly in Luzon last November or December. Yeah, November. And you know that you have something, you have access to something, you know that you're living comfortably. And so how can you live knowing that there are people suffering and you're just, sitting idly in your home? You have to do something, right? At least from the comforts of your own home. And so why not make your unproductive days in quarantine into something productive, and then, help give out to people who are in need and trying to help them out in general. And also, there's this group, the lawyers for doctors group, that's run by someone I know in the competitive programming scene. And it's a really nice initiative because they're like a group of lawyers who are reaching out to different donation drives, who are, giving out their benefits and then turning them into food that they could give to, doctors who are facing overtime and fighting hard for our country because in the times of COVID, because you know how spicy it can get in the frontliner scene, especially with the support that our government gives to our frontliners. It's just crazy. So, it's one way of paying forward, if you know what that means. Um, and sometimes, in order to feel, sometimes giving out something from you can actually make your whole day or your whole week in general. Yeah, there's that.
True. It's really amazing how like the simple things that we create or we do, like
Mhm.
competitive programming, like your advocacy of like women in tech, like girls can also code like that. I also believe in that, and like it's just amazing how like these disciplines, I guess, like competitive
Mhm.
programming, all about math, but we could also advocate about girls can also code like
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so
like
much.
and like it's amazing how like you met someone in competitive programming who also like merged with like your poetry design, like no one from competitive programming, the
Yeah, it
lawyers.
was so amazing. Who would have thought?
So we got to know a lot about you. So here's a question like that makes you think. What do you wish that you could have told your younger self, like being you now, knowing all these things?
Oh. That's quite hard because my older self didn't know anything about computer science. I mean, to be honest, my let's say grade 6 years old self would never thought that I would be this into the computer science scene. Like she would have zero idea about what I'm doing right now. And maybe I would tell her that, girl, you can code. You don't have to hastily generalize that if you hear computer science is just for guys, because that was my conjecture before. Like, no joke, whenever I hear that, oh, he's an IT, oh, he's a CS major, oh, he studies computer science, I would always think about nerdy guys with glasses, with unkept demeanor, and etc. etc. Very bad generalization, I know. But I was a sixth grader. What did I know? We didn't even have a CS subject by then. And maybe another thing that I would tell myself before was, there's always room for improvement. There will be always room for improvement, because you will think that you did your best, but then the next thing you know, your best isn't enough, and it shouldn't bring you down. It should actually make you motivated to do better the next time, to improve. As what they say, the biggest room is the room for improvement. I would tell myself also to not take opportunities for granted, because I sometimes I would get overwhelmed with the opportunities I get, that, oh my gosh, I couldn't handle them, etc. etc. But then you don't really appreciate something until they're gone. You know, especially with what quarantine has brought us, like all the competitions that were canceled, or the meetings that you were supposed to do. It's not really nice to know that you had something once, and then like in a blink it's like all gone. So, just enjoy everything, and everything that you've experienced so far, take them preciously. Don't ever take them for granted. And also, lastly, you shouldn't put yourself in a very high pedestal. I always had this thing about, actually, even until now, and before also, like I would get crushed with the pressure. People would expect things from you. They would expect you to be very stellar and doing all of the things that they expect you to do. But then it's not the case, and it comes to the point that you break down, and then you just get destroyed in general. And I wouldn't want that to happen to my I don't know, sixth grader self, and also to myself now. Please, for the love of God, don't put yourself in a very high pedestal, or don't let yourself be broken down by the pressure people have put you into.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if I look back to my younger self, it's completely different to who I am now. Yeah, I did actually like STEM at first. Mostly,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, we're all from Pisay here.
yeah,
Ever since I got accepted, it was kind of like a forced thing already. But then
of
I grew
course.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you kind of grow up loving it. It just kind of grows into you.
yeah, exactly. And it's actually quite like it's so nice. Like you can mix creativity and art with tech. Like you can still pursue your interest in art while still pursuing STEM, which is really amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's this other people who has this thought that you're either a creative guy or like a very logical mathematical guy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, excuse me.
Exactly. Like no, you can be
Oh,
both. Like you can
yeah,
literally do anything.
exactly.
Yeah. So may I ask, like, us, like me and Gab, we're like
Mm-hmm.
really interested to becoming like creators as well, and we're really interested in the field of tech. We want to know, as well as the people who are listening to this, what
Oh,
advice can you give
mm-hmm.
to us and other creators?
Oh my God, I'm sorry for that. It's like something that I still think. up until now, whenever like a new opportunity pops up, and it's that creation and doing programming is a never-ending testing of waters. I swear, you will never get comfortable because there something will present itself and then challenge you every time you think that you're already doing well. And always get out of your comfort zone, because learning comes when you go out of your comfort zone. It's never just a one-time thing. Learning, no, you get that along the way. It's a never-ending process. And there's this quote from Enola Holmes that I still picked up. If you dip your foot into the sea or water, you will attract sharks. That's very inevitable because there will always be risks. There will always be things that might get compromised. You will always face hardships. You will always get uncomfortable, and you might feel unmotivated if you try to do that. But then how will you ever know your capabilities if you didn't go out of your comfort zone? How will you know that you're capable of such things if you didn't even try them themselves? So if you guys are, planning to get into the specific field, or like let's say you wanted to get into competitive programming, or you wanted to do literature or creative writing, I swear you won't lose anything when you try it. Yeah, sure, you might lose motivation, you might get this kind of insight, but then you gain something every time. You will know if you're capable of or not. You will know if this is for you or not, and you will keep that in mind because you went out of your comfort zone. It will be very memorable, as I've experienced before, and it may become a life lesson for you and for you to ponder upon in the future.
All right. So that quote really got me there. I guess like there's you can't really do something and not expect risks. Risks are always a given when you try to do something
Yeah.
out of your safe space. So well, aside from we have talked about what you have done over the years, like what you have done
Mhm.
during quarantine. What can we expect from you next? I guess as your journey as a creator, a competitive programmer, and a poet.
Oh my. Lots of things. Wow, lots of things. Very confident. In the context of programming, I actually took a break because it, as I mentioned before, pressure gets into you really, and I snapped in half. Actually, not in half, in like millions of pieces. Wow, mirror ball. I took a break from programming, but then hopefully I would jump back in college and join the ACM ICPC, hopefully manifesting to be in the school's group for the ACM ICPC. And the ACM ICPC is the college level for the National Olympiad in Informatics, or the IOI. And in poetry or in creative writing, we're actually planning to release our second poetry zine. Hopefully it would manifest. I mean, we've been very busy because we're graduating students, we're processing lots of things. There's research, there's scale, there's really lots of things going on around, and hopefully by the time that we are free, we can dedicate ourselves into writing another poetry zine that would hopefully touch the heart of other people, and something that they would resonate with, again, just like our first poetry zine. And in general, hopefully people would see me in a university that I would like, pursuing a course that I really love. That's like the only wish I would want right now. And also having a scholarship that would lessen my family's financial burdens, because that's what I really wanted to avoid in going to college, because I don't have any education plans, and I cannot afford going to, expensive universities, in even my dream university, like if I didn't have any financial aid or scholarship. So hopefully in the future, or in April, I would receive an acceptance letter from my dream university that I got accepted in a course that I really love. I mean, my first choice course, with a scholarship package, hopefully. And hopefully this will also manifest to everyone who's listening right now. Hopefully you get into the college that you guys love, with admission aid, scholarship package, all in one, something that would lessen your family's financial burdens. We're manifesting it. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, definitely. I wish the best for you also. I really believe that you will get to great things in the future, especially with what you're doing now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and especially if we just manifest, yeah,
Manifest.
manifest, because yeah, that will lead us to great things. And especially for you, I really wish you the best, Joan. We're all happy for you, and yeah, that's basically the end of this.